Russell Wilson has been the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. They have made the postseason except for one, if I'm not mistaken. So just a few moments ago, our Josina Anderson caught up with Jadeveon Clowney.
All right, first of all, I just saw your head coach, Pete Carroll, saying not one touchdown as he was walking off the field. Put this win into words, as obviously you held them to no touchdowns today.
Man, hats off to my defense, man. We've been harping on this all week, come up here and play great football on the road. We've been playing good on the road all season. We had to continue that into the playoff and step it up another notch in the playoff. You know, it's win to go home, and we ain't ready to go home, and we came out and played a great game on defense today. We got to carry this over to next week.
Let's talk about the contact that you had with Carson Wentz. Obviously, your helmet. Yeah, well, obviously your helmet hit his, caused them to go out the game. Can you just kind of go through that play and what you were thinking at the time?
I was just rushing the passes. It was a bang-bang play. I ain't intentionally trying to hurt nobody. I just played this game with a lot of enthusiasm and effort, and that just was a bang-bang play. I hope he's okay. Everything will be okay with him.
When did you become aware that he was hurt?
Next series, when I ain't see him out there, I was like, what happened to him? Somebody that hit might have put him out, and I was like, damn, I hope he's all right. But like I said, I was worried about my team today. We got the win we was looking for, and so we got a big game next week. It's time to go back and prepare and get ready.
Can you describe the concern level that this defense had when McCown was in and driving at some points in the second half?
I don't think we ever was bothered. We just got to stay composed on defense, and we know what we got on our side. And we just make changes on the sideline, go out there and try to execute the game plan. And our coach put us in good calls, and we're not to execute it today.
I know you appreciate Carson Wentz and the player that he is in this league.
Oh, for sure, man. He's a hell of a player. The last 4 games of the season, unbelievable. He did it without some of his starters, a lot of starters, and to carry this team into the playoff. Hats off to the Eagles and organization and him.
We appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, Josina, thanks very much. So obviously things changed somewhat dramatically for the Philadelphia Eagles. They were so beat up going into this postseason run, and Carson Wentz led them to 4 straight wins in the regular season to get there. What did you think of the hit by Jadeveon Clowney on Carson?
Yeah, listen, it's hard when you have a guy like Carson Wentz who's a really good athlete and he's escaping. I'll take Jadeveon Clowney at his word. He's not trying to hurt a player, put anybody out of the game, anything like that. You know, it's tricky. You got an athletic guy running down the field, you're pursuing, he's going down, he kind of dives on him, it looks bad. Do I think he'll get fined? I do.
Yep. That's the part right there.
Right, and so I think he'll get fined. You know, what I call it a dirty hit. I'm not comfortable necessarily saying that because of the type of athlete that Carson is and how fast that is happening.
Yeah, I just think it's hard. Listen, I play the game a certain way, and if you were not on the ground, I was trying to hit you in any type of position that I can, whether if it was diving at your shoulder pads, if it was diving at your thigh boards. I wanted to inflict as much pain as I possibly could on any runner of the football, which Carson Wentz was at that point. And I'm with Jadeveon Clowney. You never hit a player with the intent to put them out of the game, but you wanted everyone to know that you were going to be in a physical battle each and every play for 60 minutes, and I believe that's what Jadeveon Clowney was trying to do.
No problem with any of that. Just when you see that replay and you see his head sort of lean into and lead with the crown of the helmet, John, I think that's going to rankle some people in the NFL.
Well, 2 things. I mean, you know, he's going to get fined. He did lead with his head. And it is a quarterback, and that does matter in this league, regardless. And a defensive player doesn't think about that. And Jadeveon Clowney's not a dirty player. He's playing football. You're trying to minimize the yardage your opponent gets, and it's competitive. So I don't think it was purposeful by any stretch, but he will get fined.
All right, so how much did this change what could have been the end outcome of this game, in your opinion?
Look, I think it changed everything, and that's with all due respect to Josh McCown, who I think all things considered, 18 to 24, comes in, actually
played really
does
well.
a very, very good job considering the circumstances. Carson Wentz was the difference maker here. With all of the injuries, it was his ability, his athletic ability, his ability to extend, to let some of these younger guys and inexperienced guys at wide receivers break loose a little bit, containing him, and just his ability to shoot the ball to all areas of the field is a game changer. So not having him, now all of a sudden you've got backup quarterback, backup receivers, backup running backs, backup offensive
right side of the line.
Yeah, and so now, you know, you're not playing with a full set of tools.
I'm for sure not going to be as analytical as that, because everything Tim said was correct. I just remember playing with Troy and
Troy Polamalu.
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
And there would be times in games where things weren't necessarily going really well for us, and I'd just walk over to him and be like, hey, man, it's time for you to do something. I was like, you got to do some Troy stuff. And it was real because it wasn't anything that you can actually quantify.
Right.
You couldn't say.
One of those flying leaps over the
you
middle.
didn't know what it was going to be. But if you look at the last 4 weeks, Carson Wentz was doing some of that Wentz stuff. There were some things that we wanted to see from him and making other people around him better, whether it was Boston Scott, Greg Ward, Perkins, no matter who these guys were, they understood that the person pulling the trigger could do special things. And when you lose that, it's deflating. The reason you were there was Carson Wentz and what he was able to do. And for him to go out early like that when it was really his time, is very hard to overcome.
John, as a coach, when you see exactly what Ryan Clark was talking about, because let's be honest, Wentz is the reason they were in this game or in the postseason in every way. When he goes out, what is your responsibility as a coach to sort of let the team know, yeah, this stinks, but we can still be fine?
Hey, Doug Peterson has done a fantastic job. Carson Wentz, no doubt, carried this team the last month of the regular season. He was the reason, they were entertaining that game in Philadelphia. But I think Doug Peterson did an outstanding job. And if you looked on the sideline, even when Carson went down, there was a moment there where Doug Peterson and Josh McCown are actually laughing in front of the teammates. I mean, there was no blinking. Really, the bottom line in this game is it was about the red area. The 9 points they had were 3 trips to the red area. Those are 4-point swings, and then a 4th and 4 they didn't convert.
Would you have kicked the field goal on 4th and 4, the first 4th down they tried to convert?
I think once you're playing with Josh, your backup quarterback, and no disrespect for Josh, but Josh got no reps all week preparing for the game. So I think I would have considered that. Not that it would have made any difference because they didn't score a touchdown all night anyways.
Right. So obviously we'll see what happens with Carson Wentz, and Seattle moves on. Seattle goes to Green Bay. Because of what happened earlier in the day. We'll get into Seattle a little bit later. But when we continue, unfortunately, as you look at the bracket, appearances, beast mode delivered on Sunday for Seattle. Here's his 5-yard touchdown run. He had 6 carries for 7 yards and this 1 score, and also had a catch. Here's Marshawn Lynch entertaining us all.
What do you do before Green Bay next week?
Work out. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And believe it or not, that was Marshawn Lynch being verbose, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
That's an effusive word salad from the Seahawks running back as they get set to take on the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll now at the podium talking about the win and what plans are ahead.
Of course, you get to advance, and you talk about surviving. We're just fired up to have another chance to keep playing football and keep pushing it and see how far we can go. This was a really good night for us, taking the opportunity of, the quarterback got banged up, and so they bring in Josh, and he's obviously a seasoned vet. You can see that he had some really good plays in him tonight, and we were able to take advantage of, some stuff there, and so we played a really nice night on defense overall. They moved the ball pretty good at times, but we kept them out of the end zone, which was really, really key. And without getting any turnovers, it was a challenge. So I was really fired up about the D. Bunch of sacks again here, and really great red zone defense made a big difference. I think the whole football game was really the third downs. We did great on third down on offense, and had a big night on defense. And this was a really highly ranked third down offense and defense from Philadelphia. So take a lot of pride in that. They're ranked 4th or something in both. So that's a good deal for us to get that done. And really, that's what kept us going. And the big conversions, big plays by Russ. I thought Russ was spectacular tonight, in moving around and finding guys when we really needed in crucial situations. But I think the night was stolen by DK. He just had a phenomenal night. Showed you, what he's capable of looking like. He's had a great season in his rookie year, but to have a night like that.
What's the most remarkable thing about being able to be within a score of a very good playoff team with the personnel, especially the offensive personnel that you had on the field at the end of the game? To you, what's the most remarkable facet about that scenario?
Just for me, it's about just how resilient our team is, and giving ourselves an opportunity like that to be down 1 score against a really good football team in a playoff game. And it's just it's remarkable for me to see our guys battle, how the defense kept us in this football game, and offense moved the ball, but we just failed to score. But to still be within a score of at least in a 2-point conversion to tie the game just shows a lot of character and resiliency of this team.
Doug, I'm sure you're disappointed for everybody in that room, but Carson in particular, 4 years and at last 8 plays in the postseason. I mean, that's an awfully disappointing blow for him.
Yes.
And how would you feel?
I feel for him. I feel bad for him.
I'm sorry, have you spoken to him? I mean,
I just briefly saw him in the dressing room after the game.
how is he? What did he look like? How was he responding? We're probably not going to talk.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll let him speak for it, but I'm disappointed, for him, because I wanted this for him, obviously, and I think a lot of his teammates did too, and the organization did. I mean, he's battled through a lot, but we'll learn from it. We'll move on.
Is there any fact that this is a different game if Carson's healthy?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I would say yes. If he's healthy, with the game plan that we had, I think so. But it's hard to speculate.
What was the mechanism for getting? He didn't come out right away. What was did you get a call from upstairs?
No, I just had Joe Appella, one of my trainers, came up and said they were just going to evaluate Carson, and defense was on the field, and that was it. And then they came to me later on and said that they were going to take him into the locker room and evaluate him further.
So was the spotter, the independent NFL spotter, that told you?
I don't know all of that. I mean, it was just I just know because I'm in the game. I'm coaching the football game, so. I just have the trainers are communicating with me, and they just said they're just evaluating Carson at the time.
On the second to last fourth down in the fourth quarter, did you consider kicking the field goal there, or were you thinking you needed a touchdown regardless?
I was, but I was also trying to maintain the aggressiveness there, try to get the first down and stay on the field and score.
The third down defense.
I do love some of the honesty you hear from coaches at the time. Someone asked him if he felt bad for Carson Wentz, and he said, yes. Like, what else is he going to say? And then someone else wants something else. Oh, I was busy coaching the game at that time, so I could not see it. Real quickly, though, this is the 6th playoff game they've had since 2017. It's the only one that Carson Wentz was able to play in, and he goes out injured again. It's very unfortunate, but it is something that just continues to sort of present itself.
It does. Some of these things are
fluky.
Yeah, I mean, guy tears his ACL diving into the end zone against the Rams, and so his backup takes over, and then they get hot. He's trying to scramble tonight for a first down, and, gets hit from behind, and his head slams into the ground. Sometimes you're just unlucky.
It's unfortunate.
You just get an unlucky break, and it happens to people. I don't think it means that you're injury prone or you're not. I just think that sometimes you're unlucky.
Yeah, I think this is definitely different from some of the other injuries. You look at an ACL or a back and some of those things, and those are long-term effects. It's quite possible that if the Philadelphia Eagles are playing next week, Carson Wentz is on the field. This isn't one of those injury concerns. It's kind of like fluky, a football thing. I think the difficult part for Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles is it's a playoff game.
Yeah.
You don't get next week if you don't win.
And John, listen, we talked a lot about the Eagles being beat up. Seahawks were pretty beat up, too, here. No Chris Carson, no C.J. Prosise, no Dwayne Brown. They found a way to come away with a win under pretty tough circumstances.
No doubt. And you look at the trip from Seattle, about as far on the planet as you can get away from Philadelphia.
Until they put a team in London.
I mean, it's remarkable. You look at the record of Pete Carroll, and Russell Wilson, and you're second to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's not bad. So this is a good football team. Pete's done a tremendous job. They've struggled this season. I mean, they've had some ups and downs, and they've been really, really good on the road. And, it's good that they are. To make that trip, and regardless of the circumstances, they find a way to win. DK Metcalf coming on late in the year like this, I mean, he was a beast. They got banged up at running back. They bring in Marshawn Lynch out of the living room, and he scores a touchdown. So, that's good coaching, too. That's a well-coached outfit and organization.
And they're going to need all of that as they have to go back to Seattle, then get ready to go to Green Bay in the divisional round next weekend. Well, there was another game that